Hi there, this is John Barrett again, back with Grace, Liberty, the finished work of Jesus Christ. I'm here for a part 2 of our series on the faith without works being dead. So that being said, I want to apologize if part 1 freaked you out a little bit, but that is exactly what religion looks like. That's what bondage looks like. That's what death from legalistic keeping the law, moral standards looks like. So today, we're going to continue on with this series, and we're going to continue on building a context for our passage in chapter 2 of James. This is the faith without works is dead. And so by doing so, we will be able to get the true meaning. So today we're going to start in James chapter 1, verses 9 and 10, which say, let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted, but the rich in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away. All right, so here, let's look at some of our words here in Greek. Low degree means humble or lowly state. Rejoice means to boast. Exalted means elevated, high. It's talking about the sky. This is also important. It's a noun with a definite article. In other words, the. The is a definite article. It means something specific. All right. Verse 10, the word rich means abounding and wealthy. Made low is the act of humiliation and recognizing our sinfulness. All right, so the point being made here is that we should recognize the truth of our position and our standing in life. Many believe that being of a low station is a bad thing, but actually it's not a bad thing. Many people believe that being rich is a good thing. It's not necessarily a good thing, but it's not necessarily a bad thing either. It's not that being rich is good and being poor is bad, or if you're one of those who believes the opposite, that all rich people are evil, and that they're in cahoots with the devil, or they're doing something wrong, and that being poor is to be more blessed by God, then you're off as well. That's not the point. The point being made is that it's of God, and it's only of God, and it's important, right? Let the brother of low degree boast in that he is the exalted. Remember, it's a noun and a definite article. The exalted. Not an exalted one, not possibly exalted. He is the exalted because of the definite article. But the rich, the wealthy, that is made low, because as a flower of the grass he shall pass away. So in other words, rejoice, be glad. If tough times come upon you, then rejoice. It's because it's of God. Now this is not something that happens as a result of a bad decision. So, in other words, if I get drunk and drive my car and get into a car accident and hurt somebody or hurt myself, this is not a trial from God, but it's just a result of my bad decisions. But there are often times in our lives when just things happen. It doesn't always have to be financial. Trials happen, circumstances come upon us. And we need to recognize that these are from God. And these are not because we were bad. It's not because that we did not keep the law. It's not that we didn't study enough or didn't pray enough. That's not it. This is from God. And because it's from God, it's good for us. And we'll see that later on in James chapter 1 as well. Because God does not test us. To test means that we could fail. But God will not put us in a position to fail. When God tries us, but it's a trial meant to reveal what's already there. Meant to show us, the grace of God working in our lives and who we really are. And so what needs to be seen in this passage is that, again, both were made that way from God, not themselves. It is not about being rich or poor, being good or bad. It's about recognizing that it's all God and not us. That our not inability to be perfect has somehow cursed us. Moral laws and legalistic standards play no part. It's the grace of God in all of this. We need to see that it is all of God, not of us, and that we simply need to rest in His grace and have faith in God and in His grace. Again, this is the context of faith without works being dead. It's not us, it's God. And I want to emphasize this. Right? He's talking about rejoicing. 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 Being made low. Being exalted by someone else. Being made low by someone else. That someone else is God. He's not saying, well, you're poor, well, you were bad. That doesn't say that. No. The brother of low degree rejoices in that he's exalted. It doesn't say rich people are bad. It says let the rich people rejoice, not the fact that he's rich, is what's being said. Or not be depressed because he's no longer rich. Because as the flower of the grass, he shall pass away. So in other words, money comes, money goes, but the grace of God is forever. It's not in our control. Yeah, we do have decisions, and we do make bad choices. But when things come and happen to us, whether or not we're good, bad stuff happens. Look at Job. Job was perfect. And look at all the trials that he went through. And this is what's being addressed here. A similar situation that was brought on him by God. Rejoice in it. Rejoice and trust the grace of God. Trust that this is the grace of God. And rest in the fact that you don't need to figure it out. You don't need to try to be better because somehow life didn't turn out the way you thought it would. Or life took a bad turn. It's not that you're being punished. It's because God's doing something. He's doing something in your life. Let's look at another passage. Again, this is all building up to the context of faith without works being dead. Right? Think about this. Think about this in context with faith without works being dead. You're going to be surprised when we get there. All right. Verses 13 and 14. We'll skip down. Let no man say that when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Okay, tempted in Greek, here in verse 13, means to prove someone evil by trying. Okay, tempt, when it's talking about tempting God, in Greek, means to be incapable of being made to do evil. So it's two different words. Verse 14, lust, individual desire resulting from a diseased condition. Okay, we're all diseased, we're all fallen, we're all sinful, and so because of our sinful condition, we're all going to lust after things that we shouldn't want. Enticed means to delude or allure, to draw somebody out, by lying or deceiving them. Drawn away means to drag away. Basically, what's being said in this passage is that God does not put us in situations that would cause us to sin. God does not set us up to fail. He does not put us in a situation where we could fail. Failure does not come from God. God does not test us, like I said a few minutes ago. A test implies the possibility of failure. We cannot fail who we are. We are permanently in Jesus Christ because Jesus Christ paid for all of our sins. We are permanently holy, permanently perfect. And to say that moral goodness somehow affects our standing with God, to say that God is putting us in a test to see if we'll pass, implies one, that God is the author of sin. It implies two, that the blood and sacrifice of Jesus Christ was not enough to cover all sin. We are perfect in God's eyes, always will be. We are not useless to Him, but we are important to Him. We are perfect and lovely to Him. God does not fail. God does not cause us to sin, and as far as God's concerned, we're sinless. This is done by our own flesh, our own nature. In other words, we cannot put ourselves in situations. God cannot put us in situations of failure. God will not put us in a situation of failure. So if we're in a position that causes us to fail, that's not God, it's us. It's our own flesh. It's us not trusting in God. It's us not having faith in the grace and the finished work of Jesus Christ. This is important to understand, because when we get to faith without works is dead, James uses Abraham as a metaphor, or he uses it to make his point. Abraham's offering of his son, Isaac. And he uses this as an example. Because God cannot put us in a position to fail, God was not seeing if Abraham was good or bad, but simply showing Abraham and us what Abraham already was. It wasn't a test. And we need to remember a few things. One, it was over 100 years, or close to 100 years, from the time Abraham started following God to the time that this situation happened. So if this is the example of a change happening in his life, then it was almost 100, if not over 100 years later. So if somebody tells you, well, there's no change in your life, or you're not producing some kind of moral goodness, don't be condemned, because they're off. These things don't always happen overnight. Most times they don't. The grace of God will produce a change, but it's not mandatory. And if you're not changed, doesn't mean you're not saved. A lot of people will tell you that no change or no moral goodness means that you were never really saved. That's not true. It took Abraham over 100 years, and that's what's being said here. You see, it was a manifestation of what already had happened. You know, when things happen to us, you know, and good things happen, it's not us being good, it's God being good. It's a manifestation of what God has already done in us. We are already perfect. We are already holy. We're already sanctified and set apart. We don't need to change. The change will happen, but change happens, as we've said in Ephesians 2:8, by being persuaded of the grace of God. Not by working hard and trying to meet the law and try to keep some moral standards. God does put us through trials, and He does put us in tough situations. But not to try to see if we're going to fail or pass. To show us who we really are and to reveal His grace. When we realize that we've not been cast down, when we realize, wow, wait a minute, God really does love me. And despite whatever failures I might have experienced in the past, or maybe experiencing now, I'm still being blessed. Or, I didn't think I could do that. I thought I was a jerk. But this situation has shown me otherwise. You see, it's all about revealing the grace of God and what God has done, not what we've done. Faith without works being dead in this context shows us that it is not about producing a work to show that we're good. It is not about producing a work or a change in my life in order to please God. So, chew on that. We're going to move on to one more small passage, James 1:17, which says, "Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, in whom there is no variableness, neither shadow of turning." Good means good, benevolent, profitable, perfect, complete, or finished. This is a small passage, but it's real simple. God only gives us things that are good for us, profitable for us, and He only gives us stuff that is complete and finished. So when it comes to salvation, then it's already finished. Our salvation is complete. It's done. When it comes to faith, God gives us faith. It's already complete. It's already done. If God has a calling on our lives, it's already done for us. We don't have to do it. If there's a change to be made, God is going to do it. God has done it. Not us. It's already done. God does not give us bad things. And everything that God puts in our life is good. And God gives us only complete things. He doesn't say, "Hey, I finished this. Do that. Do this. Do this. Do that." It's already finished. It's already complete. Good and perfect. Profitable and complete. Faith without works is dead. Has nothing to do with our salvation. Nothing to do with proving that we are saved or walking with Christ. Think about that. Think about this. Every good and perfect gift. God only gives us perfect things, complete things. Think about that in context of faith without works being dead. God bless you, my friends. God bless you. I'm here to tell you that the establishment is wrong. I'm here to tell you that Christianity as a whole has rejected the gospel. I'm here to tell you that God does not put you in car accidents to punish you. That God does not bring disasters and bad things into your life. Imagine if your kid did something wrong. As a punishment, would you tie him up, put him in the driveway, and back over him, and then hug him and tell him it was for your own good? No. And neither does God, because God's a good Father, better than us. You're saved if you've believed in Jesus Christ. Blessings come not by obedience, but being persuaded by the grace of God, and so does our grace. And so does any change and deliverance in our lives. By being persuaded of the grace of God. We have liberty to do whatever we want. And God gives us only good things. God bless, my friends. Until next time, I'm John Barrett with Grace, Liberty, the finished work of Jesus Christ. Peace.